Greetings for everyone. In this opportunity, I'm going to talk about my learning process during the semester. At the beginning of the semester, I have had everything planned and organized. Thanks to the results of the test that we took at the beginning of the semester, I have came up with a schedule that will allow me to work on my learning process and my weakest points. So I choose to focus primarily in my writing, as I always have had problems with this skill. In order to be more specific, I choose to work in the present perfect, past perfect, present perfect continuous, and past perfect continuous. Continuous. I did this in order to reach a full understanding of when and where to use them correctly. As usual, it has been a real challenge for me to keep up with my lessons, getting harder in the last 2 weeks as we have a lot of deadlines to meet. Therefore, I was forced to use some of my study time in order to complete those tasks. Well, as you can see, now we have some of my notes that I tend to take when I'm facing with some new words, vocabulary, or maybe content that I think is relevant for my learning. Sorry for the quality, but those is one of my tricks to study. I'm also using the Anya's grammar book. Well, not the Anya's grammar book, but the one she posted on the virtual at the beginning of the year. And I do this because the book itself is very useful and very good for my learning process, as it's very simplistic. It has within it had one page for explanations and one page for exercise, so it covers a lot of concepts and a lot of subjects of grammar things that I really think are crucial for my learning process. For me, in my case, it's more fruitful if I take notes of what I'm reading, even if it's the same, to complement what I want to say. So it's important for me to keep a continuous writing process while I'm studying, even though I'm not reading later, because I think for me it's important to getting it right in the first time and writing it. So I think it's very fruitful. Now, at this point, I want to highlight that for me it's very hard to see if I made an improvement on my learning process or not. Because of that, I use the task as a measure device. For example, in the feedback session, Camilo said to me that I have problems with punctuations, sentences, and structures. And maybe it's because I do not produce too much, because even when I'm writing, just passing the information from the text to my notebooks, I do not pay attention in the way I write. Instead, I do pay attention on the content that I'm reading. So maybe I need to work more in my productive skill of writing. Another important point that Camilo commented about my performance is the quality of my reflection. He said it's too simplistic. I need to go deeper in the analysis that I'm doing. So I need to improve my reflect and work on it. That's two main focus this time: my writing skill regarding structured sentences, and my analysis, my reflection. Therefore, I need to reorganize my learning process, taking into consideration the feedback from my teacher and from my own learning process itself. The problem is that for me, it's really hard to see my advance, to see if I am advancing or no. So I need to maybe go to talk with a peer in order to know if I'm doing the correct thing or not. Well, now that we have covered my own learning content process, now I want to talk about another part of my learning process, This time I'm going to talk about my pedagogical learning process because as you may know, I want to be a teacher. I'm going to be an English teacher, so I need also to focus on that part of my learning. During this year, I have seen a lot of different methodologies, since methodology, TREP, ELAB, language itself, and in this last one, I want to say that there is one part of the course that caught my attention, and I think it's very good and it's a magnificent approach to tackle the issue of literature workshops, and that was the fact that we have freedom to choose. For example, in this workshop, we work on a book of our choice, and we presented our books in small groups. So we have one presenting and the other ones listening, but 4 or 5 students, no more than that. So, in my opinion, this workshop works so well that that will allow me to enjoy the subject, enjoy the activity, and it was easy to keep up with the readings because we were reading what we like it or what we like. I don't know if someone hate the book later. Okay. Well, this readings allows us to comply with the readings in a more friendly way. And secondly, the fact that the presentations were on small groups help us to reduce the stress on our shoulders because of getting shy of presenting or not, or having problems with our presentations because, I don't know, too much eyes watching you at the time. So it relieves the stress that we have at that time because we're small groups in the household. Also, we have the opportunity to reflect and to improve our presentations with each group that we were having at the time. This is definitely a kind of activity that I will try in my classroom to motivate the reading within my students, and even more, it helps to make them talk and produce something, and they don't have the stress of being presented in a huge group, because we know that the weight loss is huge. Well, that was my journal presentation. I hope you like it, and see you next time. Bye.